It was really exciting. I mean, it's really hard to describe those early days with Ajay and Rajiv. So I have a few minutes here, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I joined Ishi, some of the things I learned, and then I'll leave you with a quote that I hope will stay with you for the rest of the day. Um, what's interesting actually about Rajiv's residence life program is I was myself when I barely knew Rajiv, I used to work at that same front desk, checking people in using that same program. And I was so impressed by it that I put a floppy disk in the computer and I copied it. And I took it back to my room, and each of us had a computer in those days, and whenever people came to visit me in my room, I would check them in. So that was a lot of fun. Although one day I was playing with magnets that I'd borrowed from a physics lab at the front desk computer, and looking at the pretty colors you get when you put a magnet on the screen. And that happened to be the same day that the program had a bug in it, so I got blamed for that. So I want to tell you a little story about how I joined Ishi, because I think it's really important that in life, many of the things that are crucial in our lives are very unplanned. Right? So if you take a moment to close your eyes and just think about the one event in your life that made a difference and changed everything, right? Think about that, and and once you're done thinking about that, think about how much time you spent planning that event. In my case, all the really important events in my life were unplanned. And case in point being how I joined Ishi is I had come back to New Jersey. I was in Canada at the time, came back to New Jersey to go to an NJIT graduation. And Gulshan's brother, Nitya, was dropping me back to the airport. And we realized we had some time before the flight. He says, okay, hey, let's stop by Rajiv's house and hang out with Rajiv for a little bit while we're waiting for the flight. This is when we all lived in Newark. And so when I stopped by Rajiv's house, we started talking, and Rajiv says, do you have a resume? And so when I got back to Canada, I sent him my resume, and that's how all the magic started. So I think the thing to take away from that story is that lots of things happen by accident, and it's good to always take time in life to cherish those events. I wanted to talk about some things I learned at Ishi. I think one of my most cherished moments in the early days was in that basement in West Orange, programming with Ajay and Rajiv. And despite having gone to 4 years of computer science, I don't think I learned as much in college as I did in those days, just sitting with Ajay and Rajiv doing pair programming. We were all into agile methodologies before anyone else was. And what I really appreciated about Ajay and Rajiv is not only were they really good programmers, but as they were coding, they would say what they were thinking, right? So for me as a new guy, I learned so much just listening to what their thoughts, because they'd say the thoughts aloud. And that was very valuable for me. I think it helped me personally become a very good programmer just by watching and learning. Another lesson I learned from the early days at Ishi was to be bold. Just like Ajay, my first experience working at 125 Broad was very intimidating. I was scared to go make coffee. Everybody wore white shirts in those days and dressed up. And I think the idea was to be bold, because one of our early tasks was to deliver software that was written in Visual C++. And we took the initiative, I guess Ajay and Rajiv did, of rewriting the whole thing in Visual Basic and not telling the client. But I think the lesson I learned from that is be bold, and also if you're delighting the customer, that's what really matters in the end. So that was a valuable lesson, and I still carry that even to today. And two more really important lessons, and I promise I'll run away right after that. One is I learned a lot about strategy. Building the business from where we were with 2 people all the way up to 60 when I left. And understanding how that works and delivering value to our clients taught me a lot about what strategy means and how to build that out. And also, I think the most important lesson I learned was about hiring the right people. We put a lot of effort into that. We used to look at 100 resumes before we hired a single person, and I think that shows even today in the quality of the people that stay at Ishi and are willing to commit so many years to delivering value. And finally, I learned a lot about entrepreneurship. Yeah. The way the company looked at building a great company and being an entrepreneur was something very valuable to me. Again, all of these lessons I continue to take with me, even after leaving Ishi, and I'm glad to be back here today. And I wanted to leave you with one thought. It's a quote from E.B. White in an essay that he wrote called "Here is New York." And he said, if you're in New York, if you want to live in New York, you have to be willing to be lucky. And I think that's true of all of us, and I wish all of you the best of luck. Thank you.